This is the video series on artificial intelligence in business. This video is the first part of artificial and natural intelligence. I am Ibrahim Kuşçu, the CEO of The Next Minds. As I briefly introduced, in this video we will be talking about artificial intelligence and natural intelligence. Do you think plants have any intelligence? Let's see. These are branches that I've just collected from the gardens of the Next Mind Center's offices here. This is a branch of a rose and this is a branch of a grape. Now, for this kind of plants, grapes have to connect or attach themselves to structure or other plants in order to survive big winds and big storms. Otherwise, they will blow away. So in this case, this branch has found a rose branch to attach to. How do they do that? Basically, these little stems, when they are in the wind, they move around to the front, to the back, to the left and to the right. And when they move around, when they see something next to them, they sense that there is something there, and then they make this little curl. Can you see it on the edge? And this curl gets attached to the branch, and when it is attached to the branch, they grow further and make a connection, and then this will help them to survive further and grow their leaves further. Isn't that an intelligent activity? Researchers have studied these grape-like plants, and they have seen that the same behavior is occurring in every type of similar plants. Basically, the stem is by touching to the things around it, it is connecting to it and it's growing curls and to make the stronger connection. So this intelligent behavior is not the only one that you can observe in plants. We know that, for example, in Africa, when there are big herds of animals coming to eat branches of certain trees, trees send messages to other trees to take guards. They send some kind of smelly and poisonous gas so that they can keep off those herds in order not to lose their branches. These are all research activities that proves that plants have certain type of intelligence. How about animals? Do they have intelligence? Perhaps animals are the ones that we know more about, and we know that they have certain form of intelligence. We can observe this on the behaviors of the pets that we have in our homes. We can observe this in the research that is being carried out in the labs on animals. We can also observe this in the nature. How the lions get together, team up and hunt together. How about an eagle? When it catches its prey, it goes high up in the sky and then drops it so that it dies. How do they know that? How about flocks of birds or fishes? They always travel the same distances and the same routes every year periodically. How do they find the routes? How about human intelligence or human cognition? How much do we know about human cognition or our intelligence? We know that our brain is the main source of activity for intelligent behaviors, but we also know our digestive system or even our skin shows some simple forms of behavior or memory that may count as intelligent. So human intelligence is not the only form of intelligence that exists in the nature. There are plant intelligence, there are animal intelligence. In fact, I have Django just coming to say hello to me. And so there are animal intelligences, and perhaps the nature has intelligence in every corner. While there are different forms of intelligence in the nature, in the literature, there are various definitions of intelligence as well. A researcher has done a great job by collecting more than 100 different definitions of intelligence according to what type of discipline you are in. So there are different definitions of intelligence if you are a neuroscientist or if you are a physicist or a biologist. For the sake of this discussion on artificial and natural intelligence, I'd like to propose a definition of intelligence as follows. Intelligence is the capacity to reduce uncertainty to adapt to the changes in life situations. This definition is both evolutionary and adaptive. It also focuses on something very important: reduction of uncertainty. Our relationship with reduction of uncertainty is perhaps the most important drive or source of our intelligence. When we were hunters and gatherers, we needed to know as much information as possible about the environment that we live in. We needed to know who should we run from, we needed to know who should we hunt, in order to survive. Reduction of uncertainty is still a key at our present life. In our business life, it is important that we gather as much information as possible in order to solve a problem. The more we know about the problem, the better we can solve it, especially those problems which reflect to the future. For our social life, it is the same. We feel more confident and social as we know our relationships or our interactions. We would like somebody more if we know that that person likes us as well. This definition that I proposed is evolutionary and adaptive because it doesn't happen in isolation. It happens within a context. It is situated, it is embodied, probably from an agent. It is enacted, there is an interaction with the environment. It is distributed, especially the intelligence in the nature. It is part of an ecosystem, everything is connected to each other, and small changes in certain part of the nature might lead to bigger changes in other parts of the nature. What is probably the most important key about this intelligence is that it is imperfect and it is inefficient. Perhaps this inefficiency and imperfection is the beauty of the natural intelligence because it allows adaptation. If we had an optimum intelligence and if it is fit for everything in the best way, then we wouldn't be able to adapt to the changes in the environment. So anything in the nature is imperfect. This idea of imperfection and inefficiency might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but we see the evidences of this in the behaviors of ant colonies and bee colonies. In fact, every corner of the nature or our body is a little bit imperfect and inefficient. This is the only way to be able to adapt to the changes in a dynamical systems, in a dynamical environment. In order to understand intelligence better, we will differentiate four forms of intelligence: cognitive, active, adaptive, and collective. These forms are not different types of intelligence. They are all interacting with each other and they are influencing overall intelligent behavior that a human or animal or a plant might have. Cognitive intelligence are those intelligent behaviors that are part of a cognition. It could be human, animal, or a plant. For example, in terms of human cognitive intelligence, we can talk about understanding and responding to a natural language. For example, if someone talks to us, we can respond sensibly to this person. For active intelligence, what we mean is those intelligent behaviors that involves an action. Any action that we perform, so, for example, walking or grasping something or pointing to something is part of this active intelligence. A frog, intelligently catching a fly through his or her tongue, is a good example of active intelligence in the animal world. Adaptive intelligence is often seen in colony behaviors or flock behaviors, for example, birds or fishes. But there are also individual examples of adaptive intelligence. For example, sunflower during the day turns its face towards the sun in order to maximize its reception of the sunlight the whole day. Collective intelligence is observed when colony of agents get together and solve greater problems. For example, bees make nests that are not possible for an individual bee to do. They can only manage to do this huge nest and complicated nest if they get together and work together. Other ants, through a collective behavior, they can find the shortest path between the food source and the nest. So how do these ants compute the shortest path between food source and the nest? Imagine that one ant coming out of the nest travels, wanders around and finds this food source. And imagine another ant comes out nest and then wanders around but finds the food source in a shorter path. Each ant, when they travel any path, they lay pheromone, and this smells and attracts other ants. So this ant, which travels the longer path, will be traveling only once, while this ant, which travels the shortest path, will be traveling twice on the same path and will leave twice as much pheromone as the one which is traveling the long road. So any new ant coming out of the nest will be attracted to the path which has more pheromone. So those shorter paths will have more pheromone than the longer paths, and therefore most of the ants which comes out of this nest will be attracted to the shortest path, and there will be an accumulation of the ants on this shortest path. There will be more and more lay of pheromone and more attraction to this shortest path. The ants will not be, all of them will not be on the shortest path. This collective intelligence also has adaptive side to it. If you destroy somehow this shortest path, the ants which travels in the next shortest path will help the colony, the whole colony, adapt and find the next shortest path. It is collective intelligence. It is a great example of collective intelligence. So far we've been talking about natural intelligence. We did mention that in the nature there isn't only human intelligence. There is a plant intelligence and animal intelligence. And also we did differentiate different forms of intelligence. That is to say, cognitive intelligence, active intelligence, collective intelligence, and adaptive intelligence. That these are just forms of intelligence which interact with each other and they may exist together. Perhaps the most important factor that differentiates human cognition from others is the consciousness. As a conscious being, we are aware of our environment, we are aware of ourselves, we are aware of our actions and choices that we make. While we are not very sure that if this consciousness is making us one of the higher beings in the nature, the consciousness is one of the most challenging issues about artificial intelligence. In fact, consciousness has been a challenge for many years for philosophy, for biology and neuroscience. Only recently a few studies is giving out a bit promising results. Now let's turn into artificial intelligence and see what kind of intelligent behaviors are being simulated in the machines. Whether the main goal of artificial intelligence is to achieve a human intelligence. Defining artificial intelligence has always been a difficult one. But as we discussed significant issues in natural intelligence, maybe making a connection to natural intelligence could make it easier for us. Then, artificial intelligence is capacity of the machines to show intelligent behaviors, as we discussed when we were talking about different forms of natural intelligence. In artificial intelligence, again, we are interested in not only with human intelligence, but also plant intelligence and animal intelligence and other intelligent behaviors in the nature by colonies or flock of birds or flock of fishes. We would like this intelligence to happen in a dynamic and be adaptive. We would like this intelligence to be situated, not in isolation, to happen in a context. We would like this enacted, that an agent is interacting with its environment, and we would like this embodied, probably through an robot or another agent. Examples of distributed artificial intelligence are not many, but through the connectivity of the cloud and also IoT, Internet of Things, the examples of distributed intelligence are being seen very recently. Fortunately or unfortunately, the artificial intelligence systems are not really imperfect or inefficient. We are trying to aim to create efficient and perfect AI systems, and this makes it totally different than human intelligence. And perhaps this is the one way we can differentiate between human intelligence and machine intelligence. All of the solutions coming from the artificial intelligence methods are trying to minimize or maximize certain loss or certain gain. So they are somehow leading to imperfect optimum solutions. But in effect, nature and us are not very perfect, and that makes us very adaptable and perhaps create general solutions. One of the key issues that relate human intelligence or natural intelligence to artificial intelligence is about this beauty of the imperfection. While natural systems are imperfect and inefficient but very adaptive, the artificial intelligence systems aim to find best solutions, optimum solutions, and therefore may not be very adaptive when they are in a changing environment. But they do create wonders when they are in a small environment, and if they are solving a narrow problem or a small problem, they create optimum solutions, perhaps sometimes much better than human beings. We will talk about this more in other videos. In artificial intelligence, we would like to have systems again showing different forms of intelligence: cognitive, active, adaptive, and collective. Although we will talk in more detail in the next video, the second part of this artificial intelligence and natural intelligence, some of the good examples of cognitive intelligence are by the IBM's Watson, Deep Blue, and also AlphaGo. For active intelligence, we can give examples of Sophia robot, Boston Dynamic robots, and some of the Amazon's retail robots. While not many adaptive intelligence exist in an individual robots or individual artificial intelligence systems, we can see some examples of this when we are simulating collective intelligence in the fields of artificial life or swarm artificial intelligence. In artificial life or swarm AI, there are a colony of robots building structures. There are also certain work on small robots getting together to perform a greater task than an individual robot can do. And recently there are examples of multiple drones working together to perform certain tasks, especially in acrobacy. And of course, simulating colony behavior of the artificial ants. All of these are examples of narrow artificial intelligence, as we will discuss in the second part of this video. Conventionally, the aim of artificial intelligence was to reach to a human intelligence. But by the time all the studies and all the tools and techniques used to achieve this human intelligence has not been so successful. And therefore, in 70s and 80s, artificial intelligence turned to simulating simple intelligent behaviors as we see in the animals or in the nature. The idea was that if we can simulate these simple intelligent behaviors in the machines or in artificial intelligence systems, we can maybe understand intelligence more and then scale up towards the human intelligence. One of the key reasons why early artificial intelligence systems were not so successful was because human intervention was very much in the early artificial intelligence systems. So therefore, intelligence designed by a neural network or knowledge representations was always limited with the designer's intelligence, whether an individual or group of intelligence. Not knowing about the intelligence itself was another key factor. So, this limited information about intelligence and limited capacity to design intelligent systems has led all the artificial intelligence work to focus on narrow intelligence and to achieve good results in a narrow domain, such as winning against a world champion in chess or in other games, or making robots to perform simple tasks. In the last 2 decades or so, the availability of the big data and also high processing power with connectivity has enabled artificial intelligence to perform much better than what it has done since its birth. Availability of such key infrastructure technologies has enabled artificial intelligence to perform tasks in health, in business world, and also in social media, such as face recognition and making intelligent recommendations, etc. But all these successes are all in narrow intelligence. What do we mean by narrow intelligence? Now let's turn into some of the key concepts in artificial intelligence. It is important to differentiate 3 main concepts in artificial intelligence. One of them is narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and super intelligence. Artificial narrow intelligence is sometimes called domain-specific intelligence or weak AI. Now, most of the systems that we see in the business world, in the social media, or all around us are examples of narrow artificial intelligence. All the systems of narrow intelligence are very good because they are operating in a very narrow domain, in a very small domain, where we know the boundaries of the problem and therefore they can perform really well. For example, they can play chess really well, much better than the human world champion. They can play game of Go much better than the world champion. The rules of games of chess and Go are very clearly defined. So therefore, building systems in narrow artificial intelligence for these games is not really difficult. So therefore, they might be able to perform much better than human beings. Creating retail robots in a big warehouse where the structures are very well known are all not also very difficult, because in this narrow domain we can build systems which can perform or which can intelligently perform tasks much better than human beings could do. Similarly, identifying tumors in the brain by looking at millions and millions of example pictures is not so difficult to do for a computer system. So therefore they may perform sometimes much better than the human doctors in this area. So at the moment we are really doing very well when we are creating artificial intelligence systems for narrow domains or domain-specific solutions. Another important, widely used concept in artificial intelligence is artificial general intelligence, sometimes called human-level intelligence or strong artificial intelligence. What is meant by this is that in the near future, artificial intelligence systems will be reaching to the human level generalization capabilities. So they will move out narrow intelligence, being a domain-specific intelligence system, to a general system like human beings. As human beings, we are general problem solvers. When we are learning something from one domain, we can transfer this knowledge to another domain, for example. Or when we learn one task, we can perform this task in different situations and in different environments. By saying artificial general intelligence, it is hoped that artificial intelligence will one day reach to human level intelligence in terms of this generalization ability. Finally, a third concept that is widely used in artificial intelligence is superintelligence. What is meant by this is that artificial intelligence systems one day will be beyond the human beings and they will surpass the human capacities and capabilities, and perhaps they will also dominate the planet, in which case people talk about singularity. In the most commonly used sense of superintelligence, what is meant is artificial intelligence systems will be much better than human beings in every aspect. Artificial general intelligence and superintelligence that I have just presented are general terms that are being used in artificial intelligence, but these terms can also apply to narrow intelligence. Within narrow intelligence, we can have general AI and sometimes super AI. So, in some cases, in the narrow intelligence or in domain-specific intelligence, for one task only, an artificial intelligence system can perform better generalizations than a human being, or can outperform the human beings in terms of precision, for example, or in terms of speed, or in terms of strength. So, the terms or concepts or issues in the narrow intelligence in terms of generalization and superintelligence should not be confused with those that are used in a general sense in the artificial intelligence, such as human level intelligence, artificial general intelligence, or superintelligence, beyond human level intelligence or singularity. Before going into the details of domains and techniques of artificial intelligence, I would like to point out an important intelligence form, perhaps the future of artificial intelligence, as augmented intelligence. Basically, augmented intelligence is a human and machine connectivity and collaboration. For example, a doctor may perform his or her task much better if it is aided by an intelligent decision support system to identify an illness of a patient and also appropriate treatment for it. Intelligent imaging systems are helping doctors by processing millions and millions images of brain by identifying tumor, whether it is malicious or not. These image systems are not helping doctors to process those images fast and in an efficient manner. Sometimes they are performing much better than human doctors. In the law area, intelligent natural processing systems can go through many cases and make summarization to help lawyers to perform their task much better. Similarly, robots also can enhance their intelligence by observing experts. By looking at how an expert performs a certain task, one robot can learn and do the same task, for example, carpentry. Finally, augmented body parts. For example, missing parts can be replaced. Missing fingers, legs, or arms can be replaced by intelligent versions, and also the enhanced vision. There are significant work, for example, to help visually impaired people, but also to enhance what we already have as a vision system naturally. There are also a number of recent work in neuroscience to enhance brain functions. One of the very recent example is by Neuralink of the Elon Musk, on which we will have a separate video. As a final point of discussion, I'd like to clarify some of the terms in artificial intelligence and also clarify some of the confusions. In artificial intelligence, there are three main big areas of study or practice. One of them is data science or data analytics, and the other one is domain of artificial intelligence and techniques of artificial intelligence. Data science or data analytics are not directly related to artificial intelligence, but really important step of artificial intelligence, because most of the narrow artificial intelligence systems rely on the data. Data needs to be clean, data needs to be representative, and data needs to be unbiased. And all the work that is done in data science or data analytics help AI systems to perform better. Domains of artificial intelligence refer to area of work where applications of AI has been done. For example, machine learning is one of the widely used domains. And then vision, robotics, natural language processing, and artificial life are all domains of artificial intelligence. It is important to note that deep learning is an area of machine learning which is a domain of artificial intelligence. Techniques of artificial intelligence refer to modeling approaches of artificial intelligence systems. In modeling artificial intelligence, we can use maybe some simple statistical techniques, neural networks or deep neural networks, convolutional neural networks, coherent neural networks, or genetic algorithms. These are just certain techniques that are being used for each of the domains of artificial intelligence. And each of these domains can be in application of, say, in the business. For example, a neural network can be used for machine learning, which can identify what will be the next purchase of a customer. Deep neural networks can be used for self-driving cars to identify the traffic signs. Neural networks can be used in natural language processing to create chatbots which can help customers about their complaints or queries about the products. In this video, we talked about natural intelligence and artificial intelligence. First, we did talk about natural intelligence, plant intelligence, animal intelligence, and human intelligence. And we also talked about different forms of intelligence that may exist in the nature. We then related this to artificial intelligence. We did say that we expect artificial intelligence systems to show similar intelligent behaviors that we exist in the nature. We did then explain some of the widely used terms in artificial intelligence, such as narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and superintelligence. And then we did explain domains and techniques of artificial intelligence. We finally explained that augmented intelligence could be future of artificial intelligence, where human and machine connect and collaborate with each other. In the next video, we will focus on narrow intelligence and provide the most successful examples in detail. As an activity, do a search on augmented intelligence and see how it may influence the future of artificial intelligence and have a debate on it.